to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded is non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Why is Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC a top GM dealer? It's their incredible selection and savings. Choose from over 400 new vehicles, including the new Buick Envista and Enclave, or go professional grade with the brand new GMC Sierra or Yukon. Plus, enjoy huge Brogdon discounts, low financing rates, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Big selection, big savings. That's the Brogdon way. Visit robertbrogdon.com or stop by in person at I-35 in Santa Fe.
Tournament time is here, and there's no better place to catch the action than at Chicken and Pickle. The ultimate spot to watch the madness unfold. Sink your teeth into loaded tots and nacho platter and all your favorite game day bites. And don't forget ice-cold drinks and local brews to keep the party going. With more than 50 indoor and outdoor TVs, you won't miss a single buzzer beater. Plus, enjoy some friendly competition of your own with pickleball and yard games on site. Make every moment count at Chicken and Pickle. Visit today in North Kansas City and Overland Park.
Icon is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 55 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Women must be of non-childbearing potential. Volunteers must be available for one stay of 8 nights and 4 outpatient visits. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $8,500 for time of travel. Call Icon today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
At B&B Theaters, enjoy the way movies are meant to be seen on the big screen. B&B Theaters, headquartered right here in Kansas City, is your family-owned and operated theater. B&B Theaters has great entertainment with films like Novocaine, Black Bag, Snow White, The Woman in the Yard. Also, great faith-based movies like The Last Supper, The Chosen Season 4, and The King of Kings. Ticket show times and the...
You got a legal ID and then you're on.
Loyalty program, all online at bbtheaters.com.
KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, K279PI Kansas City, 103.7 FM. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints.
And we've got a little bit of reverb coming back here. So, Jay, if we can fix that, we'll not be hearing ourselves. There, it's fixed. It's fixed.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So how you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing all right, Kirk. How you doing?
You know, there was more racing going on last night than on a Friday night in the middle of the summer. There was a lot of stuff going on last night. So just trying to keep up with it all. I had to get up a half hour earlier than I normally do just to get all the stories posted on the website this morning. There was smut stuff going on.
It was like the old days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How about Brad Sweet and Casey Kane running 1-2? How about that?
For Casey Kane Racing, the boss ran second to his guy, Brad Sweet. So I guess that would stand. I'm not sure that Casey had anything for Brad Sweet.
Has that ever happened before, Kirk?
I don't remember it happening. That's got to be one of the highest finishes that Casey Kane's had.
I think that's his first podium finish.
Yeah. I mean, he's been running pretty good lately. I guess maybe the departure of Eric Pretzer, on the surface of it, Casey's running better without Eric Pretzer.
Oh, Brett Marks give Casey Kane a run, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Brent Marks typically has not run very well out on those California racetracks. I mean, he admitted so himself in the interview after the races last night that he said that he's struggled with these California racetracks. But getting a third-place finish last night, I'm sure, had to encourage Brent Marks because he said himself, if you want to be a championship contender, you got to run well everywhere.
Right.
And he hasn't run very good out in California, so I think he took a big step forward in that regard, and maybe you could place Brent Marks in the category of those drivers that might give Brad Sweet some trouble, but I still think you got to heavily favor Brad Sweet to win that high limit championship again, especially based on how he started the season so far.
Right.
He finished on the podium the other night at Thunderbolt Speed, finished second to Kyle Larson at Thunderbolt on Wednesday night, and then he wins last night at Bakersfield, Kevin Harvick's Kern County Raceway or Bakersfield Speedway or whatever they call that racetrack last night. Brad Sweet still, he's going to be hard to beat, but so too is David Gravel on the World of Outlaws side. Gravel did it again last night. He won at Cotton Bowl Speedway, and can you believe this, Scott? David Gravel has posted 18 straight top 5 finishes in the World of Outlaws.
Buddy Kofoid gave him a little bit of a run, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, Kofoid had the lead. Gravel he took it away from him. And that was before the rubber. His started rubber down a little bit last night, Scott. Cotton Bowl Speedway.
You know, the top in 1 and 2 wasn't very good last night.
Yeah, it was a lot different than 3 and 4.
Right.
That's for sure. But David Gravel, like Brad Sweet over on the high limit side, I think you could even say that Gravel is even stronger for what he's doing with the World of Outlaws he's just absolutely decimating the field in the World of Outlaws right now, Gravel. He beats Buddy Kofoid, Carson Macedo, Sheldon Hodenshield, and Donnie Schatz, who came from 10th to 5th last night at Cotton Bowl Speedway.
That's a good run for Donnie Schatz because we
better
haven't
than he's been running.
We haven't seen Donnie run really well as of late, have we, Kurt?
At least since the start of this year. Yeah,
right.
He struggled just a little bit. So I'm sure that, Donnie's never satisfied with a 5th place finish, but I'm sure he's got to be more encouraged than he'd been. But it appears to me that Buddy Kofoid, after getting off to a little bit of a slow start, has now reemerged. You remember that epic rookie season of last year?
Right.
He has stepped up now and has become a big-time player along with Carson Macedo. I thought maybe Sheldon Hodenshield would have a good run last night. He started on the pole, but he ends up 4th. And Sheldon just wasn't able to keep his 17 car up.
Why do you think that's the case, Kirk?
I don't know. I think can you say it's the driver? The car was fast. I don't know. Sheldon Hodgenshield's won a lot of races.
He has.
But he's just not been as consistent as you need to be if you want to be a championship contender. He qualified 4th last night. Gravel, of course, was the number 1 qualifier. And you see, this is where it makes very, very difficult task for anybody else to take the number 2 down. When Gravel qualifies number 1, that's a pretty tall thing to overcome because that puts him on the pole of his heat race. And if you put him on the pole of the heat race, he's going to win it. So all of a sudden you're in the dash. And what he end up in? What he started 2nd. He pulled a number 2 pill. No, he pulled a number 5 pill in the dash, and he ends up 4th. But he still wins the race.
Right.
So the biggest key, and you know this, we've talked about it in this high level sprint car racing, even the dirt late models. If you qualify up front, you're probably going to have a good night. But you got to qualify up front to have a good night, right? Because if you're starting halfway back in the field, as competition level the way it is, in all these series, you're going to have a hard time getting up there challenging for a win. But Gravel is qualifying number 1 in all these races, and so therefore he's going to win a lot of races, right?
Well, that would be the case.
Yeah, that's just the way it works. Because there's no dominant race cars in terms of qualifying. Even David Gravel can't have a poor qualifying night, start outside the dash, start way back in the field, and expect to win. Because there's too many other good cars. Too much other good equipment. Everybody's got good equipment.
But were you surprised that Brad Sweet won?
No. No, I'm not.
Because he started on the pole.
That's it. It's the same thing with what Gravel's doing right now. Brad Sweet.
I can't get over the way that Casey Kane runs second in that race.
Well, here's the thing. Casey Kane qualified second in the first qualifying
Brent
session.
Marks gave him a heck of a run, didn't he?
He did. But see, here's the thing.
Right.
Both Kane cars, Brad Sweet qualified number 1 in the second session, and Casey Kane qualified number 2 in the first session. Now we're going back to the high limit race out in California. So those two guys qualified up front. So therefore, they're going to get a pretty good starting spot in the main event.
Hey,
and
Casey,
both of them did.
Casey Kane won back around Brent Marks for the second place, didn't he?
Well, both Sweet and Kane started side by side on the front row. Marks started 5th and ended up in 3rd. Tanner Holmes was another guy that did pretty well last night.
DJ
Started
Neto
7th, ended up 4th.
DJ Neto, he looked pretty good last night as well, didn't he?
Started 12th and ends up 5th. Followed by Tyler Courtney, Tim Kading, Tanner Thorson, Dominic Scelzi, and Justin Peck out at Kern County in California. So
Dominic started 21st and ended up running 9th.
Yeah. So the Celsius, Dominic raced with the high limit out in California, and Gio, of course, full-time World of Outlaw driver. We're going to hear from Gio Scelzi coming up here in just a little bit. He won his first race of the season a week ago on Friday night down in Texas, and he had a pretty good finish last night. Gio down at Cotton Bowl Speedway for the World of Outlaws ended up in 8th. He's probably disappointed with that because he started 3rd and ends up 8th.
Blake Hahn picked up the win down there at Creek County.
This was the ASCS Sooner region, Creek County Speedway. A couple of big nights of racing down at Creek County. Thursday night they had the Power Eye Midgets.
I thought about
last night they had the Sooners 360 wing sprint cars.
We got the new car, and I'm thinking about going back down there.
Now you got dependable transportation.
Right, I've got dependable transportation. Our old car had 204,000 miles on it.
Yeah, you couldn't count on it to take you anywhere.
Right.
Could you? So Racing Boys got a new car for you. It's nice. Equinox. Kind of like what I got.
Yours is a 2018, isn't it?
Same year, this same year, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. So now
black on black.
So now you're ready to go.
That's how I like it. And we're going to have our friends down at Impact Signs, Awnings, and Wraps do the wrap on it.
So it'll say Racing Boys on it.
Right.
You was talking about Blake Hahn. He ran his midget on Thursday night at Creek County. Of course, he lives right by the racetrack. So why not race at Creek County Speedway? So Blake finished 4th behind Cannon McIntosh, the winner at Creek County on Thursday night, the Power Eye Midgets. And then last night, they had 22 wing sprint cars there. He started 8th and wins in his Wing 360 sprint car. Of course, he's going to be a full-timer on the ASCS National Tour this year, plus mixing in a number of 410 races along the way. He was down at the World of Outlaw weekend at Kennedale last weekend, so Blake already out there pretty busy.
Hey, when you beat a guy like Seth Bergman, you did your job.
Yeah, especially when Bergman starts on the front row. He started on the outside of the front row. So
and Hahn started 8th.
But don't you think Blake Hahn knows Creek County Speedway
better than anybody?
Better than anybody,
right?
You know, he lives there. That's home. So congratulations to Blake Hahn last night. And, of course, on the other side of town at Port City Raceway, they had the Power Eye Midgets, part of the Turnpike Challenge that's going on down at Port City Raceway. Again, you know, as we told you, they raced on Thursday night at Creek County Speedway. Cam McIntosh picked up that victory. But last night it was Gavin Miller leading every lap to win the first night of 2 nights for the Power Eye Midgets at Port City Raceway. Started on the pole and led all 30 laps, no yellow flags. Went green to checker without a yellow. Jacob Denny finished as second. McIntosh was third. Zach Dahm fourth. And Thomas Messerol, after starting on the outside of the front row, finishes in the top 5. They'll do it again tonight. Pretty good car count down there. 46 midgets. Last night at Port City Raceway, they had over 40 midgets in Creek County the night before, so a pretty good number of midgets down there.
Let's talk about what happened down in Humboldt, Kurt.
The Heartland Modified Tour opened up the first of 2 nights at
Pronounce
Humboldt
that
Speedway.
last name.
The Heartland Modified Tour.
Randall
Schiffelbein.
Schiffelbein
comes through with the feature victory.
Shadron Turner was second.
We had Johnny Allen on a week ago talking about this a bit. We also had Trenton Berry on our Monday Mostly Motorsports show. We're going to hear from Trent Berry coming up a little bit later on in the hour. His RacingDirt.com streamed live the event last night. And Schiffelbein wins over Shadron Turner, White Gaggero, and Brandon Gibbons. Dustin Hodges ends up in 5th place last night down at Humboldt Speedway. They're going to do it again tonight. So congratulations to him. They're also going to have a big modified event down at Salina High Banks in Oklahoma tonight that pays $100,000 to win.
Should we go
That's
down there?
one of those XR events. Well, you can go wherever you want to go.
I got a new car.
Salina High Banks. You've been there.
I've been there a few times.
That's
I've announced a couple races there as well.
For Racing Boys. We've covered some live events
ASCS races.
Yeah. So, anyway, that is tonight. And it's going to be interesting to see just how that turns out. $100,000 to win modified race. Of course, next weekend, the King of America, one of the crown jewels of USMTS racing, will be at Lucas Oil Speedway next weekend. They'll be racing next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday down at Lucas Oil Speedway. This event used to be at Humboldt Speedway, but now at Lucas Oil Speedway. So we'll be keeping an eye on that event next weekend.
What are your thoughts about moving that from Humboldt to Lucas Oil Speedway, Kurt?
Well, the last couple of years, weather has not cooperated at Humboldt. And, the crowds tailed off just a little bit there. And with a big crown jewel event like this, an opportunity opened up to host this event at
So you're not
Lucas Oil
against
Speedway. I'm not against it.
You're not against it?
I hate it in terms of
Humboldt.
I love Humboldt Speedway for this event. But at the time of the year this thing is being held, its weather's always created a problem down at Humboldt Speedway. And you just never know what kind of weather you're going to get. In the early years, it really ran pretty well and drew big crowds, big car counts, and so forth. But over the last couple of years, things kind of tailed off just a little bit in terms of car count as well as crowd. So they're going to try something new. Todd Staley and worked out with Lucas Oil Speedway. So we'll see it at Lucas Oil Speedway next weekend.
What'd you think?
Any event that happens at Lucas Oil Speedway, I'm not going to complain about. It's yours and mine, one of our favorite racetracks.
Hey,
Lucas
Kurt.
Oil Speedway.
Kyle Larson wasn't the fastest truck last night in that truck race,
But he won.
but Corey Heim, he looked the fastest, didn't he?
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Homestead Miami Speedway. Now, if you were to think of drivers that would be favorites to win at Homestead in any kind of a race, wouldn't you say Kyle Larson would be one of the first guys to come to mind at Homestead?
He's
running the lip.
He's pretty
at
good
Homestead.
down there.
Yeah, especially
Do you
when it
think
puts
he's going to win the Xfinity Series race and the Cup race?
He's going to try to go for the sweep, isn't he? He wouldn't have won that race after he spun out with, 45 laps to go. Corey Heim had, and you said Corey Heim had the fastest truck.
He had the fastest truck.
But something happened to him. What is the
number
engine started cutting out? What happened to him? Heim.
It just died as he run down the straightaways.
He said after the race the dash went blank, just as like it was cutting power and couldn't get it fired back up again. But after Larson spun out, there was no way that he was going to chase down a Corey Heim, the fastest truck. I don't think there was any way. But Larson had fresher tires, and he was like 3 seconds faster than anybody else on those last laps of the race.
But I think still Corey Heim was going to win that race.
I would agree with that. I think that had he not had those issues,
he went up there
the end, he would have won.
And he blew by Lane Riggs and Daniel Hemrick.
Was it Riggs that Larson got into it that he spun out? I think it was. He got into Lane Riggs right there, and around he went. But he was able to rally back, and it's been a good week for Kyle Larson. He wins the high-limit race out in Thunderbolts Raceway in California on Wednesday night. I think I put the headline up there on the high-limit race. He cowboyed up, Cowboys to a win, because that was a rough racetrack at Thunderbolt on Wednesday night. And then he goes down to Homestead Speedway and tries to sweep the weekend. He's off to a pretty good start doing that.
Hey, every one of these stories that we're talking about, you can find on racingboys.com.
That's right. So Kyle Larson will now race in the Xfinity race today at Homestead. And he'll try to win that. And then he'll go for the win on Sunday in the Cup Series.
Todd,
on Sunday.
I can't believe you have that track talk above the...
Like that?
I like that.
There you go.
Todd is the very best at making graphics, just so you know.
I get bored a lot, so I make a lot of stuff, right?
Right.
You know what I like about you, Todd? You do things that we don't even ask you to do it. You just do it.
After being here this long, I just got to know what we need, right?
Right.
and Scott and I go, hey, that's cool, Todd. Great. Never thought of that.
It's rare that I come in and go, nah, that don't look too good. We don't want to mess with that.
All right. Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Giovanni Scelzi is going to join us next here on Track Talk. What do you think about Giovanni?
He's got a... Do you think it's more relief than anything else that he finally won a race? He's been struggling a little bit here lately, but pulls off a big win on Friday night a week ago at Kennedale, and then comes back and gets a top 3 finish on Saturday night. And then last night, he finishes in the top 10. So he's running a lot better right now, and we spoke with Gio Scelzi on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show, and we'll hear a little bit of that interview coming up.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Giovanni Scelzi is going to join us next year on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Gio joins us next right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Ready to win real money?
4 minutes, gentlemen, 4 minutes.
What's on are the player stats to rack up big cash prizes. With DraftKings, pick six. And when it comes to massive payouts, DraftKings dunks all over the competition. Pick six is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. Track your picks for a shot to win huge cash prizes. It's as simple as that. Turn your March Mania knowledge into cash today. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly with just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded is non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Why is Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC a top GM dealer? It's their incredible selection and savings. Choose from over 400 new vehicles, including the new Buick Envista and Enclave, or go professional grade with the brand new GMC Sierra or Yukon. Plus, enjoy huge Brogdon discounts, low financing rates, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Big selection, big savings. That's the Brogdon way. Visit robertbrogdon.com or stop by in person at I-35 in Santa Fe.
Tournament time is here, and there's no better place to catch the action than at Chicken and Pickle, the ultimate spot to watch the madness unfold. Sink your teeth into loaded tots, a nacho platter, and all your favorite game day bites. And don't forget ice-cold drinks and local brews to keep the party going. With more than 50 indoor and outdoor TVs, you won't miss a single buzzer beater. Plus, enjoy some friendly competition of your own with pickleball and yard games on site. Make every moment count at Chicken and Pickle. Visit today in North Kansas City and Overland Park.
Icon is seeking healthy non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 55 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Women must be of non-childbearing potential. Volunteers must be available for one stay of 8 nights and 4 outpatient visits. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $8,500 for time of travel. Call Icon today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
At B&B Theaters, enjoy the way movies are meant to be seen on the big screen. B&B Theaters, headquartered right here in Kansas City, is your family-owned and operated theater. B&B Theaters has great entertainment with films like Novocaine, Black Bag, Snow White, The Woman in the Yard. Also, great faith-based movies like The Last Supper, The Chosen Season 4, and The King of Kings. Ticket show times and the chance to sign up for the free Backstage Pass loyalty program all online at bbtheaters.com.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. My team knows injury law. We can help you understand all of your legal rights so that you don't get cheated.
DM Law knew what to do and got me $350,000.
Mike's got this.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
The holidays are over, and now it's time to start paying off your bills. Paymore is the best place to turn your old electronics into cold hard.
20 seconds.
Got some new electronics over the holidays? Great. Bring in the old ones and turn them into cash right away at Paymore. They include a free data wipe whether they purchase or recycle your old tech. Paymore now has 2 locations, 135th in Antioch and Overland Park and 1415 Douglas in Lee Summit. Paymore, the smart place to buy, sell, and trade electronics.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 12 hours of NCAA basketball coming up
On Sports Radio 810 WHB. That's a lot of basketball. 11 o'clock. It starts at 11.
Are you going to watch it all, Kirk?
I'll watch quite a bit of it. It's been kind of, not much excitement. All the big favorites have won in the NCAA. We haven't seen a whole lot of upsets.
Right.
Kind of like the racing we saw last night, Scott. We saw Ricky Thornton Jr. win from the front row in the Lucas Oil Late Model Series at Atomic Speedway in Ohio. We saw Bobby Pierce win from the front row and dominate in the World of Outlaw late model race. We saw David Gravel win. We saw Brad Sweet win, and we saw Kyle Larson win.
Right.
That's kind of the theme we've seen of the NCAA tournament. All the favorites have won this weekend.
I want to give a shout-out to Marvin, who's checking in from Miamisburg, Ohio, and Kelly, who's checking in from Central Point, Oregon.
Welcome to everybody joining us here this morning. Well, Gio Scelzi got his first win of the season a week ago, Friday night at Kennedale Speedway Park. Since then, he's posted 2 additional top 10 finishes, one of them a top 3 finish Saturday night at Kennedale. Monday, we spoke with Gio Scelzi on our Mostly Motorsports, and here's just a little bit of that conversation. Part 1, we'll hear the rest of it in Hour 2 exclusively on Racing Boys.
Gio, you did a great job outrunning David Gravel, Carson Macedo, Sheldon Hodenshield, and Bill Baylog. You did a great job there, bud.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it always helps to qualify well and start up front, too, doesn't it? That helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It seemed like, when they split the field in 2, it makes it tough. You have to be in those top 4 spots to be on the front row. And we were actually 5th on Friday night. And luckily the racetrack was racy enough, and it's actually starting to rubber up there in my heat race. So I was one of the first ones to find it there in 3 and 4, and was able to get by Buddy for the dash spot. And obviously that's huge. I mean, that goes from starting 10th to possibly on the front row like we drew. So making that dash is crucial. And most times when you're in a heat race, it's kind of one lane or really hard to pass, not being on that front row. So it was crucial to sneak in that dash.
Talk about laying rubber down on the racetrack. That's always a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, between tire wear and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I feel like, it rubbered up there towards the end of the heat races, and the B-main was rubber as well. So did about everything they could with the equipment they had with the water truck and the little tiller they had, and just wasn't quite enough. We were dealing with 40-mile-an-hour winds and a lot of sunshine. So the racetracks down here, I feel like, are somewhat similar to Arizona, the southwest kind of the surfaces of the racetracks that once they get dry, it's really hard to bring them back. So obviously Saturday they got it a lot more wet and got the racetrack more racy. So I feel like when you're on the front row of a track, it's going to rubber up. It's kind of your race to lose, and you more protect, I feel like, than actually race.
It's been a real challenge starting off 2025. Just how big is this to have a great night like you had on Friday night, and the mindset now going forward?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I feel like really after Knoxville last year, it's been a bit of a struggle. Obviously ran second at the Nationals, had a great weekend, and then really since Jackson, end of August, we'd struggled. Had a decent weekend at Huset's there on Memorial Day, I think it was the end of September, and had struggled since then. So, just, you think you get another shot at it, obviously, every weekend, and you do, but you kind of snowball into struggling more and more and more, and you get kind of more in left field, I feel like, when you don't figure out your race car. So went to Florida this year and struggled really more than we ever have, and went back to the shop those 2 weeks off and had a long talks with my crew chief and car owner and kind of tried to see what direction we wanted to go in, and ended up testing there before the Bike Week Volusia shows and thought we found some stuff with our engines and our race car as well, and it kind of showed.
David Gravel's leading the points right now. He's got a 62-point lead over Logan Schuchart. Kirk and I were just talking a little bit earlier in the show about the possibility of David Gravel having some bad luck along the way, because this is a short season already. You've only ran 10 races so far.
Yeah, for sure. I think you obviously never want to wish bad luck on anybody, but with as many races as we run, the possibilities are obviously pretty high to have a bad night. So Donnie's obviously left the West Coast swing in California end of March, 200 points out of the lead, ended up winning the championship. So, this early, I feel like points aren't much you worry about. Obviously, you can put yourself out of it pretty easily and dig yourself a big hole to try to get out of. So, just worried about winning races. Running up front consistently is our main goal, obviously, and I feel like what we've kind of hit on here lately will help with that.
What were some of the big challenges, some of the things you had to fix? Dating back to the Nationals last year, you've struggled a little bit. What have been some of the big issues here for the KCP team?
It seemed like we kind of hit on a setup there early last year in Florida. Had an awesome Dirt Car Nationals. We're in the top 5 almost every single night. Ran second in the Big Gator points, and progressed obviously through August with a setup we thought would work everywhere. And we're good at Eldora, good at Knoxville, good up in Wisconsin. Obviously won a couple races there and one up in North Dakota as well. And it's tough when you have good runs like that. It's easy to want to go back to what you've done a couple weeks before or the month prior and hope that's going to work again. And it seemed like the more we tried to progress that setup, it seemed to make us worse. So kind of went back to the drawing board with torsion bars and shocks and engine packages and stuff, and tried to kind of manufacture something new, I guess you could say. And still learning what the car wants now. Same chassis, obviously, just a little bit different package, and trying to progress it throughout the night and make the right calls throughout the night.
What about your engine package? Has that been pretty consistent throughout? What changes have you made in your motor program?
Yeah, Brian Morrison's awesome. He builds our engines as well as David Gravel's, and he was actually there Friday night when both of his engines ran first and second. So that was really cool. We're his main 2 customers. We have the most of his engines, and he obviously takes really good care of us and is extremely smart. So kind of a protege of Charlie Garrett, and obviously we all know his motors rip really hard. And, the knowledge he has over the years and years and years he's built engines has really kind of built our package to what it is now.
Boy, you've got a lot of support from the guys you drive for, Brett Nearing, Matt Barbara, KCP Racing. These guys are really in full support of you. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, it's huge. I think it really shows when you better. And, the support we had, this will be my 5th year racing for these guys. So time flies, started back in 2020. So, to have the support from them and the friendship from them that really want to see me do good on and off the racetrack as well is very encouraging. And, like I said, it's easy when you're winning races and running well to have that support, but when you struggle, it's really encouraging to have those guys behind you.
Why World of Outlaws rather than High Limit? Was there any question which direction you'd turn? You've been a supporter of the World of Outlaws for the last few years. Why the World of Outlaws?
It's excuse me, it's been a big question, obviously, going back to last year before the season started, talk with Brad Sweet, and Casey Kane was there as well and went to their shop end of 23, I believe it was, when they were going to go run a full season of High Limit. Everybody wants to do what they know and what they're comfortable with. Obviously, we're comfortable with the World of Outlaws, and them coming out with a charter system and the franchise system, whatever you want to call it, is obviously huge with how much money they're paying. And for us, it's really not a decision until Charlotte's over this year. So we've committed ourselves to the World of Outlaws for 2025, and it's tough. Obviously, you run this race team as a business, which it is, and you want to make the best decision for that team to possibly make money and be successful throughout the years to come. So it was a big decision, obviously, to stay with the Outlaws, and now that High Limit has put their point structure out and their franchise system out, it's going to be a big decision for next year. And haven't spoke to the Outlaws since, and obviously it's all pretty fresh in everyone's mind. And we've committed them for 2025, and I feel like the competition-wise, obviously High Limit's getting stronger every single year. And when something new comes out, there's always that uncertainty with whether it'll last or whether it'll keep going or whether it's just a 1 or 2 or 3 year thing and then it goes away.
Right.
So obviously they're here to stay, and they're a serious player in the sprint car world.
Your brother Dom, he run 9th with the High Limit Series. Talk about, is he going to run full-time with the High Limit Series?
No, so he'll run just kind of a hit-and-miss schedule. I don't know if he'll come outside of California. I think the furthest he'll probably go east is Vegas. He'll probably come down to Vado, New Mexico, possibly, and race with the Outlaws down in September when we come out through California. So obviously having 2 kids has slowed him down a bit. He's working at my mom's business now, right. So kind of doing all the grown-up stuff that nobody wants to do.
So you're based out of Des Moines area, right?
Yep, Des Moines, Iowa.
And how's that? I mean, that's pretty close to Knoxville. How much of a factor is that? When you had a great finish at Knoxville this year, I think you got a real shot at winning again this year. How big is that based out of the Des Moines area in proximity to Knoxville? How big is that?
Yeah, I love it. Our shop's about an hour from Knoxville, obviously being a home racetrack for us, and almost all of our sponsors are based in Des Moines. So to run good in front of a home crowd, really, and this car has obviously been based out of Iowa since it's been created back in 2013. So really a hometown racetrack for us, and I live there now, so a little bit of a hometown racetrack for me as well. So I've loved Knoxville since I've been going there. Obviously, it's a crown jewel race we all want to win. So been lucky to have success there and run good consistently and win quite a few races there. So Knoxville is obviously the week that's circled on the calendar for the year, and like I said, to run good in front of our sponsors, which are all from the Des Moines area, is very cool.
So talk about winning the world, the Knoxville Nationals. Talk about that a little bit. That would be big for you, wouldn't it?
Be a life changer,
it would be incredible.
That would change your life.
I think I've run fourth there. I've run second there now. Our package seems to be really, really good there. And being able to get to your heat race there obviously is key, inverting 8 and taking 4. So very unique format. Obviously pays a lot of money to win that race, but I think it's more than that. I think getting your name on one of those pillars that will stand there for forever, I feel like, and being next to Lasowskis and Kinzers and Wolfgangs and those guys that have won that race multiple times, Donnie Schatz obviously would be a very big accomplishment in my career.
That's Giovanni Scelzi, and that was on Mostly Motorsports.
Episode 352.
And we got more of that coming up exclusively on Race Boys
Todd,
Hour 2.
what was that?
Episode 352. And yeah, Kirk, you're right. There's a second part to that. And then also a little bit we clipped out that I saved for just a podcast. So if you want to go back and listen to that podcast, episode 352 with Giovanni Scelzi and Trenton Berry as well on that podcast.
Yeah, we're going to hear from Trenton Berry coming up here in the next segment, talking about all the big things going on in the modified world. King of America next weekend, the Heartland Modified Tour at Humboldt Speedway this weekend. So we're going to hear from Trenton in just a little bit. Before we go to break, I just wanted to recap. We did talk about it in the first segment. The big late model series were in action last night. World of Outlaw late models down at Swainsboro Speedway in Georgia. And Bobby Pierce started on the front row, and guess what? He led all the way. Dominated. Who would have thought that, huh? So Bobby Pierce wins. Ryan Gustin looked like he might have had the fastest car there, Scott. Towards the end, Gustin was coming. Started 10th, and he ends up in second. Drake Troutman was third. Corey Hedgecock and Will Harrington rounds out the top 5. And then the Lucas Oil late models were at Atomic Speedway in Ohio last night. Ricky Thornton Jr. had to fend off a hard-charging Josh Rice to win at Atomic Speedway. And, last week you and I were wondering, okay, which direction is RTJ going to go, because he was in the top 5 in both the World of Outlaws and late models. They even posted his profile and list him as a driver on the World of Outlaws site. But RTJ made his decision, as most of these series were up against each other last night. RTJ is going to go for his second straight Lucas Oil late model championship. He obviously made that decision by showing up at Atomic last night and winning, and he's going to go for his second straight Lucas Oil late model crown.
He wouldn't let us know. We had him on the show on the podcast a few weeks back, and he didn't want to let us know. He said, "You'll know pretty soon."
I don't think he knew.
He didn't. I don't think he did. We even asked him, because we talked about how his name was on both websites being listed, as drivers. So.
There's a rumor going around that Casey Schumann took a job down at Lucas Oil in Wheatland.
He was the general manager at I-70 Speedway.
Right.
Well,
there's
no schedule at I-70 Speedway dirt track. They wanted to, Casey Schumann wanted to shorten the size of the racetrack, which everybody thought that was a good idea, but that had been placed on hold. And there's a lot of things going on out there at I-70 that the future of the dirt track, big-time question, and Casey Schumann not a part of that anymore. I think we've got our answers to what lies ahead out at I-70.
I'm going to text Casey here in a minute.
Try to get him on and try to find out
right
just what he is doing now. But, that kind of changes the equation just a little bit, doesn't it?
Mark said there's a lot going on at I-70 Speedway. It's going to take a lot of work to fix that place.
Well, it's primarily a drag racing facility now. It's called Flying H Drag Strip.
Do you think, Kirk, the drag strip is going to take over the racetrack?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. The answer to that is yes, and I think we can look forward to some big-time drag racing events over the next many years out at the place formerly known as I-70 Speedway.
Can the racing boys rent out the dirt track for a day and
couple days,
just for one day? Let us go up there, and me, Kirk, and Scott, just before you tear that thing up, just let us go around that track a couple times.
Right.
We'll get a couple race cars, and we won't hurt anything. Like I said, it'll just be us.
We'll
it'd be fun.
See what lies ahead out Kirk, of I-70.
I don't know if you know it, but Kirk won a race out at I-70
That's what
Speedway.
I'm saying. So
got a trophy to prove it.
So you bring the trophy out there, and that's our entry.
How big is your trophy, Kirk?
Oh, it's it's not gigantic, but it didn't need to be big.
It's what it's a trophy. It's what it represented, right?
And I never thought I'd ever win one like that, but thanks to you, by giving me some great advice there, stuck your head in the window, said, keep the foot down, don't let up. That's what you said.
And you did it, didn't you, Kurt?
I did. So
you never lifted?
Well, Soren Petro will never let me forget. As a matter of fact, he brought it up to me at the 50th, or at the, what was that, the big anniversary party here a while back.
25th anniversary.
He said, you beat me. He said, I don't forget that.
Right.
Frank Bull was out there, too. He spun around.
He spun out.
Yeah. But, no, that was a pretty cool day out there. Thanks to Gary Joslin for providing those cars out there, the old paved track at I-70 Speedway. Hey, before we go to break, just wanted to make mention the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum has Corvette giveaway again in 2025. This one is a beautiful competition yellow Corvette. It is a ZR, what do they call it? ZR1 with a ZTK performance package, over 1,000 horsepower. And you can win this car. All you got to do is go to winacorvette.org to get registered.
When is the last date that happens?
Last day you can register is the last day of the Knoxville Nationals in August, and they draw for it a week after that.
So we're going to buy some tickets, aren't we?
Yeah, we always do. So you can win this Corvette. All the proceeds go to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum. They got the Dennis Hallbaugh Suite Tower. It's almost ready to go. Another month. They're going to open up the season up in about a month from now up at Knoxville with the World of Outlaws. And that Dennis Hallbaugh Suite Tower, they're planning the grand opening for this thing. So it's come along. And you can go to the Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum today. It's open 7 days a week. Check out the gift shop while you're there. If you want to see what they have in the gift shop, go to sprintcarstuff.com.
All right, let's take a break. Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Trenton Berry's going to join us next here on Track Talk. We'll see you then. And
we'll be right back.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
3 minutes.
The game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Jeff Montgomery here. If you're a man dealing with frequent urination, multiple trips to the bathroom at night, or a weak urine stream, do what I did and call Miva Medical. Their new cutting-edge non-surgical procedure eliminated my symptoms. Board-certified Dr. Brown is very professional, knowledgeable, and helped put all of my worries at ease. As Kansas City's leaders in minimally invasive non-surgical treatments, I trusted Miva Medical and Dr. Brown to help me. If you're experiencing these symptoms, go to miva-medical.com. That's MIVA-medical.com.
The wait is over. Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia has expanded to serve you better. Come experience the all-new showroom and service department just off I-35 in Santa Fe. Check out the latest lineup of Kia, including the spacious new Sorento, the rugged Telluride, and the first ever K4, each backed by Kia's industry-leading warranty. Visit OlatheKia.com or stop by today. Olathe Kia, expanding for you. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Ready to win real money this March Mania tourney? Well, forget about the teams. All you need to focus on are the player stats to rack up big cash prizes with DraftKings Pick 6. And when it comes to massive payouts, DraftKings dunks all over the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. Track your picks for a shot to win huge cash prizes. It's as simple as that. Turn your March Mania knowledge into cash today. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly with just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded is non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. For the first time in 25 years, LeaderCast is coming to Kansas City. On April 8th, join visionary leaders and world-class speakers like Jesse Cole, the mastermind behind the
20 seconds.
Gold medalist Dominique Dawes, renowned leadership expert Andy Stanley, and best-selling author John Gordon, all in one powerful day designed to transform the way you lead. Great leadership fuels success. Investing in your growth isn't optional, it's essential. Seats are filling fast. Secure tickets for you and your team now at LeaderCast.com. LeaderCast. Better leaders build stronger teams.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the PowerRide Midwest Lightning Sprints.
And that was confirmed about Casey Schumann. He has been named as the Assistant General Manager and Competition Director at Lucas Oil Speedway. So congratulations to Casey Schumann, formerly the General Manager at I-70 Motorsports Park. Now Assistant GM and Competition Director at Lucas Oil Speedway.
What do you think what's gonna happen at I-70 Speedway?
I don't know.
Kirk? Do you think that the drag strip's gonna take over?
Well, we talked about that before the break, and I think that. So we'll just have to find out what the future is of that dirt track. I don't think it's long term. I just text
Casey Schumann.
So maybe we'll hear from Casey on his new appointment down at Lucas Oil Speedway. Pretty good job for him.
Yeah,
Lucas Oil Speedway.
Why don't we push off this interview with Barry and stuff until on the second hour, Kirk?
All right.
Because we're pretty close on time, and since we just broke this news, we can go ahead and talk about this news with Schumann and I-70 and stuff for a little bit because.
What is the future for I-70 Speedway?
Well, how about the future for?
What do you think, Kurt?
Well, I just believe that the drag racing is going to be the focal point of everything that's going on at I-70 Speedway. That's what I think.
Do you think they're going to bury the racetrack? And pave it?
Well, I mean, you're talking about there's still work to be done to ready the facility for an NHRA National Tour event, which I believe is coming to the Flying H drag strip. It's not going to be this year, but maybe next year, and there are certain things that's got to be completed before they can host a national NHRA event. And the ground that track sits on right now is a pretty valuable piece of property where the dirt track is.
My neighbor says that's sad about I-70 Speedway.
Yeah, well,
Well,
they were going to have to spend. Here's the thing about the I-70 dirt track. They were going to have to spend a pile of money to shorten that racetrack up because first of all, they built it too big.
Right.
So what Casey Schumann wanted to do was to shorten up the racetrack, which was the right decision to make. But that's all going to cost money to do that.
Here's what happens when you type in I-70 motorsportspark.com. That's motorsports.com, sorry. When you try to find that on
I-70 Speedway,
it just doesn't.
No website.
There's just nothing coming up. I mean, it even comes up to the old I-70 Motorsports.
If you see where the drag strip is in relationship to the dirt track, and you look at what they're trying to do with the facility and the drag strip, which is owned by a different ownership than where the I-70 dirt track sits on. Scott Higgs purchased the ground to build the drag strip, and you see all the work that's being done around the drag strip, and you take an aerial photo of I-70 Speedway, and you see where the dirt track is in relation to the drag strip. You're thinking to yourself, if I'm the drag racing people, that dirt track's kind of in the way. Is it not?
It is.
So
it kind of limits the race, the drag strip a little bit.
Well, yeah, the return road, or the road that leads to the staging area, where they pull the cars from the pit area to the staging area, is a pretty narrow path to get to the staging area, and that racetrack, the dirt track, kind of sits in the way a little bit, I think.
The problem is that they need to pave the asphalt, the track.
I think we talked about this before. If there's going to be pavement going on, it's going to be over where the dirt track used to be.
Right.
So we don't know.
But
what's
listen,
going to happen
when I-70 Speedway was a pavement track, they put 2,000 or 3,000 people in there every night.
Well, they did, but that was then, and this is now. So
if you go through some of the comments on social media, I mean, I know there are comments on social media, but it's some of the stuff that people are saying, and somebody says, I'm not going to mention any initials, but I think any names, but I think his initials are Chris Payne. So I mean,
Chris Payne was was part of the ownership of the dirt track. He purchased that whole facility to build this, to refurbish the whole area. And then he sold the ground that the drag strip sits on to Scott Higgs, who built the drag strip, because he had the wherewithal to build the drag strip. So if you're Scott Higgs, now I've attempted to get Scott Higgs on the air, not been successful in doing so yet. But let's just look at it this way. If you're Scott Higgs, and don't you want that entire facility? I would.
Right.
I'd want everything.
Well, absolutely. I just think that somebody dropped the ball with building that track the way they did. Somebody had to come along and tell them, hey, this thing is way too big during some testing and something. And because if they'd have built it smaller, I don't think we'd be sitting in this boat right now. I think you'd already have other races out there and everything. But it was so big. It's just how it kind of came down.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810. Don't forget, hour number 2, you can watch it on Facebook, YouTube, and RacingBoys.com as well. Kirk, you got anything to add?
Just make sure you join us on Monday for Mostly Motorsports. Live on Racing Boys, our Facebook and YouTube pages. We do it every Monday in addition to right here every Saturday morning, so we appreciate all being with us.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. We can't thank you enough for doing so. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning in to RacingBoys.com.
Thanks to Jay Powers and Todd Surprise. Guys, doing a great job.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products.
Very good stuff. I will see you next week.
All right, brother. Have a good week.
You too.
Road, Rod End Supply is an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Hey, Kansas City, this is S.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply is an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Here at Specialty Sportswear in-house, we do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sabres 33 RLP. Let's go take a tour. Coming into this animal, we're going to take a trip back here to the feature of this trailer, the deck. Check it out. It's awesome. It's 4 by 10 feet. You can dance on this thing. Boom! Check it out. It's pretty nice. And then coming to the back of this thing, you got a 75-inch TV. It's huge. 60-inch fireplace. Nice and big, keep you warm. Then you got an ottoman that converts into a table, if you will, maybe some TV trays. Then this hide-a-bed that I'm pointing at, it comes out and folds into like a king-size bed with storage in the corner for all your linens. Great little addition to the trailer. Your dinette, of course. Then you're gonna come around to the kitchen with the tic-toc sink. It's got the spritzer and the waterfall and all that stuff. Residential style refrigerator. It's got the microwave and the oven that's residential as well. Big old pantry over here with motion detected lights, coffee bar, and then coming up to the bedroom, you'll have the bathroom first, nice and spacious with a seat in it for them ladies. And then we got the king size bedroom with washer dryer hookup. I'm telling you, this is a home run for a couples coach. Come and see me, Kyle Walker.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
So we have a lot of folks come in interested in traveling for work. This is going to be a great option. Your Coachman Northern Spirit 2565 front kitchen. You have a nice wraparound full front kitchen here. Huge windows up top. Big 12-volt refrigerator. Lots of windows on the sides here. Great natural light coming in. You have your big TV over here on the swing arm bracket so you can kind of see it from any point in the room. Also have your bar stools here. Sit and eat your breakfast. In the bedroom, You're going to have a king-size bed in the slide-out. Lots of storage underneath that. Washer, dryer, hookup, tons of storage with the drawers. Then you got your full bath across the back. When it comes down to a camper that you can get for 6,500 pounds and be under 30 feet long, this is an absolute home run.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to Track Talk, hour number 2, right here on Facebook, YouTube, and RacingBoys.com.
They didn't have any racing at Williams Grove Speedway last night. They were supposed to, but Mother Nature put a stop to that. Now we're told that Lincoln Speedway has been called off tonight, but Port Royal is still on, for those of you out in Pennsylvania. So not as nice of weather as here in the Midwest, huh? Out in Pennsylvania. We got beautiful weather out this way.
It's really beautiful.
A little bit cool this morning, but it's supposed to warm back up again, is it not?
Yeah, it was
Right.
30 something this morning, but it's gotten a lot nicer out there right now.
It's supposed to be 60 today, isn't it?
It's going to be nice. The sun's out, so get out there and do it. I think they have Lakeside's actually having their practice today because they canceled it last night.
They canceled it.
Today's?
No, last night they did.
Yeah, last night, but I think it's on today from what, let me double check that.
No, I was down there talking to Tim Shields, and they said that they canceled it today.
They did?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll take your word for it. So, anyway, a lot of play days going on this time of the year, which I'm not a real big fan of.
Kirk,
it's okay they have them, but I'm not going to attend them. To why? I just, to go out and watch hot laps. Not for me, but I can understand why the promoters have them. It's another opportunity to sell pit passes and gather entry fees and the like, and they don't have to pay out a purse.
Kirk, it says that Matthew Dillard is the new general manager out at I-70 Speedway.
I can't comment on that because I don't know what you're talking about.
It's right here. Matthew Dillard.
Where are you reading that from? Boy, we're just good at spreading rumors around here, aren't we?
Right.
I'm not going to report on anything I can't confirm, so I'm not going to go with what you're going with. I don't know.
It's right here in front of me, Kirk.
Well, where is it? What are you reading that from? What is that? Tell us what that is. A website? Whose website?
I-70 Speedway Post.
When I bring up I-70 Motorsports Park, there's nothing. I see nothing found. So, what's the date on the article? Why don't you read the article?
October 7th.
Tell us what it is, because I can't comment on it.
October 7th. What month? I mean, what year?
I've not seen it.
2024.
So don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah.
I would say drop it. And don't say anything at all. That's what I would say. When is it dated that you're reading there? What's the date on it, and where were you
October
reading it from?
7th, 2024. It
No,
says Matthew Dillard is...
It's old news. Matthew Dillard isn't he doesn't he work for Flow Racing, Matthew Dillard?
He
We've
did.
seen him down. I saw him down at the Chili Bowl. He's not a general manager of a racetrack. I have no idea what you're reading there. So I would say don't read it.
It's right there, Kirk.
What is the website?
That's an old
That's old
story. It's an old story. Matthew Dillner is a member of the media reporting a story. So I would say let's not do anything with that. The biggest news is Casey Schumann is no longer the manager at I-70 Motorsports Park Dirt Track. He is now the assistant general manager and competition director at Lucas Oil Speedway. That's where Casey Schumann is now. So that news come out a couple of days ago. So that's what we're reporting today. And I'm saying, too, that big plans are in order for the drag strip at I-70, now known as Flying H Drag Strip. You're going to see big things happen out there over the next many years at I-70. If you're a drag racing fan, you have to be thrilled about what's going on in Odessa, Missouri right now, because the future looks very bright if you're a drag
For
racing
the drag
fan.
strip guys.
Yes. So,
do you think they should have named that KCIR, Kirk?
Well, I think when Chris Payne bought the facility out there, the drag strip, he always had plans to build a drag strip out there. He was going to name it KCIR at I-70 Motorsports Park. But when he didn't have the money to build the drag strip, he sold the piece of ground that I think it's 150 acres that the drag strip sits on, and sold it to Scott Higgs, who had the money to build the facility, which, by the way, the drag strip is as high quality and high level as any drag strip in America right now. It's a concrete racetrack, and the drainage and the infrastructure they built for this drag strip is as good as any quarter-mile drag strip in America. That's how good this drag strip is. And so they didn't build it just to host some weekly racing out here. I don't believe there's going to be some high-level events in the future at I-70 Flying H Drag Strip. Not this year. It's not on the NHRA national event calendar next year, but in the future it will be. When we had Blake Housley on the show here, I think about a year ago, he said, yeah, the plans are to have NHRA national events out here. And so I think that's going to happen in time, but the facility is not ready to host a big-time national event yet. But they're working on it, and it will be.
So you think
that's where we're at with all
you think the demise of the dirt track is? You think it's gone?
Well, I think what the plan is Scott Higgs I think he's probably going to end up owning the entire property out there before it's all over, and it's going to be all about that drag strip. That's what I believe.
So you're pretty confident that the dirt track's going to go away.
Well, just like we talked about in the first hour, if you take an aerial shot of the facility and you see the drag strip and you see where that dirt track is in relation to the drag strip, you're thinking to yourself, that dirt track's in the way. That the ground that dirt track sits on needs to be utilized for everything surrounding the drag strip.
What's your opinion, Todd?
Yeah, it's gone. You won't see anything else out there. NHRA is going to move in out there like big time, and it's going to be their premier event here in the Midwest.
All they need to do is pave that racetrack.
Nobody will race it.
Well, that's not going to happen.
They're not going to do that. There's not enough money in the town to put.
There's going to be pavement.
Who's going to pay for the
racetrack?
Yeah, there'll be a parking lot there. Who's going to pay for the racetrack to be paved? Chris Payne? No. The guy who owns the Flying H? No.
I think
he wants a parking lot.
Chris Payne is probably going to. I don't think he'll be a part of it.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not going to. Who's going to put up the money to pave a racetrack that the drag track don't even want there? Like Kirk said, it's right in the middle where it's.
But the good news is, it's on its way, and it is already to being a world-class drag racing facility, and it's going to be one of the top drag racing venues in America.
So you're saying that the dirt track is gone?
I can't report that as confirmed, but one has to assume that that's where it's headed. That I can be confident in saying that.
I do know that they do have a website, and they have things with the countdown ticket on there, so I do know their track's running. So
21 days, what is that?
21 days, 7 hours, 46 minutes, and 26.54 seconds. So they're ready to roll out there, guys.
Yeah.
The schedule is right there. Looks like April.
All they need to do is pave that racetrack.
And here's the other thing, too, Scott. You can't stage events concurrently on both venues, the drag strip and the dirt track. You cannot schedule events on the dirt track and have events in the drag strip going on at the same time.
Kirk,
so
if they pave the dirt track, the dirt won't be a problem to the the drag strip.
That's not going to happen, Scott. It's not what you're proposing is not going to happen. Period.
They're not building any new racetracks.
It's going to be all about that quarter-mile drag strip out there. That's what it's going to be all about. And
you're assuming, Kirk.
Well, just look at what they have done out there so far. Look at the money that they put into the drag strip. I've already told you that this is not just some ordinary quarter-mile drag strip. It is a world-class
We're looking at some
strip.
pictures right now, and these pictures are...
This is as good a drag strip as anywhere in the country.
Yeah, this is going to be I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm with Kirk on this.
And they've already constructed the grandstands on the left-hand side of it that seat, I want to guess, close to 10,000 people on one side of it with plans. And they've got the area cleared off on the other side of the drag strip to construct another big grandstand. And so this is they're not just looking at local drag racing, bracket racing out here on a weekly basis. They're looking at more than that.
Yeah, they've got bracket racing if you want to do that.
But they're looking at even more bigger events than that.
Hey, get your motorcycle out, guys.
Yeah.
They got bracket racing motorcycle.
And you know as well as I do, we've been to enough NHRA national events over the years at Heartland Park, Topeka, and other places that you need a lot of parking for spectators at an event like that. And you see where the dirt track is right now?
It's in the way.
They're going to need that space. They're going to need that space where that dirt track sits.
Yeah, I just think that things didn't work out the way they thought it was going to work out there.
You guys are assuming that the dirt track's going away.
Yep.
Well, Scott Higgs, they poured in a lot of money into that drag strip out there.
Yep.
And everything that's going around it, and the paving that's gone on, and the pit area, and all of that.
So you are just speculating.
Well, NHRA, I can tell you this, and I can confirm this: the NHRA wants to be there with the national event. They've already said so. We remember when it was first announced that the last event was going to occur at Heartland Park, Topeka, that they were going to move that event to the Flying H drag strip. They put out a press release on that. The NHRA did. they want to be at this racetrack with the national event. So they're preparing the facility now in order to make that happen. They're just not ready to go with it yet. Like they can't host an event quite yet because there's a lot of work yet to be done to get it ready to host an event of that magnitude.
Well, you know as well as I do, it's a sponsorship deal, and you've got so many things to be able to be able to pull this kind of an event. Back when NHRA, when I first started working with Racing Boys, and we went out there and covered that event out there, me and Kirk would go out there. Man, it was amazing. I mean, they rolled out the food and the welcome. You had lots of swag to bring home and stuff, and every year it just kind of dwindled down. And I think it was more or less, that didn't have to do with NHRA. That was more or less kind of how the track
well,
kind of.
Just all the uncertainty with Heartland.
That's what I'm
Park
saying.
Topeka.
You could
That's
every
what
year.
You know, they shut down the dirt track up there at Heartland Park Topeka.
There's nothing up there.
Well, they took it out. Chris
It's gone.
Payne took the track out.
The only thing that's left up there is in
That's
Topeka.
what he thinks of dirt track racing, although he decided to build this dirt track at I-70.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chris Payne, the guy that, and Bailey, the co-owner, they decided to build that
Todd,
dirt track
what do you want to do? What do you want to run
Let's
first?
let's play the rest of this Geo interview. That way we can wrap up that Geo interview. And what we'll do is we'll play a little bit of this. We'll play these
Trenton Berry?
Play these Trenton Berry ones because they were kind of pertinent to what's going on this weekend
we
and
can
what.
play Trenton now, or would you rather go with Geo now?
Just go with Geo.
This Geo is a small one. We get this thing knocked out, and then we can do the Berry one back to back, and then we can wrap that show up after that.
So let's finish up with Giovanni Celsi, who we had part one in the first hour. More with Giovanni Celsi, World of Outlaw driver. You're going to be at Knoxville a couple of times before the Nationals, coming up in April and again in June. Hopefully the weather cooperates those weekends. Is there really anything you can take from the times you go to Knoxville that help you for the Nationals in August?
There is. Typically we'll test there maybe once or twice throughout the year because it's so close to home. The thing about Nationals is that racetrack is like no other. I feel like it's very different from week to week, from a local show to an outlaw show to the Nationals. Obviously with Nationals, you get 50 cars that show up split into 2 nights, and they've had a big week before that with 360 Nationals too. So a lot of laps are on that racetrack, which is a testament to how good the track crew is, giving us something to race on every night. Always going Wednesday. I feel like Wednesday's track's a little bit faster than Thursday's, obviously being the first time they've raced since Sunday, the Capitani Classic. So they get a couple days to pound water into it and get it really gripped up for Wednesday night. So, it's tough. I feel like you can get a really good package there on the local shows and the outlaw shows, and then get something completely different for a surface on your prelim night.
Talk about winning the Cappy. That would be big as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible week last year. We ran second at Capitani, won our prelim, and ran second at National Saturday. So Cappy is your real big warm-up. There's, 50 to 70 cars that show up. So you get a more similar racing surface on Sunday as you get to Saturday at Nationals. Really slick, normally a big cushion, narrow bottom. If you can kind of tune your race car in on Sunday, you'll be good for your prelim and for Saturday.
You've always been good on these big high half-mile racetracks. Eldora, you almost pulled off the big money there last year, so you've been really good at Eldora and Knoxville. Just how important is that to go to a place like Kennedale Speedway Park on Friday night, and you finish third on Saturday night to have a good weekend at a little bull ring like that too?
Yeah, I really think people would be surprised kind of how similar your setups are to a Kennedale, to say a Knoxville. Obviously, there's differences in gear, torsion bar stiffness and stuff like that, but I feel like when you get kind of a box that you work in with your race car, you kind of follow that, whether you're at a Grand Forks or a Kennedale or a Knoxville or Eldora. The package that seems to work at one place really seems to work everywhere in the country.
What are some of the other racetracks? You're going to be going to Cotton Bowl Speedway this weekend. What are some of the other racetracks around the country that really favor your driving style?
Yeah, Cotton Bowl's awesome. Was able to win there Saturday night last year. There's so many cool places we go to. I feel like there's really nowhere on the schedule I don't look forward to going to. I feel like, from Williams Grove to Eldora to Tulare out in California, all these track crews really step it up for when the Outlaws come to town and try to give us a really good two-lane racetrack.
A couple of other venues pretty close to Kansas City. Really, the closest place here in Kansas City we go to see the Outlaws is Knoxville and 81 Speedway, where you'll be there in just a couple of weekends from now. What do you think about 81 Speedway in Wichita?
Yeah, Wichita is awesome. I went there back in 2020, and I believe that was the first year the new promoter took it over. And he's put grandstands, he's upgraded that facility a lot, and it shows with the people that show up for it. You get a huge crowd there, obviously, and it's the only time I get to go there all year. So really, really cool place. I feel like he's gotten the surface figured out. Obviously, it's always windy down there, so that's always a battle. But no, he's done an incredible job with building that show up and making it really, really a big race.
We're really bummed out that we don't have a race up at US 36 Raceway and I-70 Speedway. We're really bummed out about that, and Lakeside Speedway as well.
I know. All three great racetracks between US 36, I-70, and Lakeside, three awesome places that create really good racing. Sometimes the Outlaws will kind of go through spurts where they go there every other year. I know US 36 doesn't hold a lot of people, so I know that they go to places where they can obviously make money with grandstand tickets and a lot of people in the stands. So hopefully be going back to US 36 soon.
I remember that race you won at Lakeside. That was a high dollar win you had at Lakeside here a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of the I believe it was 2 years ago, the high limit show they had there paid $50,000 to win. So that was a cool one. Had won an Outlaw show there the year prior and had always been successful at Lakeside.
How's your dad doing?
Good. He actually just got inducted to the Drag Racing Hall of Fame. So that was Thursday before Talladega. So really cool function. I know that was really the last thing in his career he wanted to check off his list. So obviously winning, in the top four categories in HRA and winning a championship in Top Fuel Fun Car and Top Fuel Dragster was cool. He's one of three, I believe, that have done that. So very, very well deserved for him to get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, if he's not a Hall of Famer in drag racing, then nobody is. So
right,
congratulations.
Could not agree more.
Yeah, that is very good. So hey, I just want to ask you just a little bit about Saturday night. You had a third place finish there. Buddy Kofoid was able to get the win there. What are your thoughts about Saturday night's race?
Yeah, Saturday's track was substantially different than Friday's, obviously a lot wetter. After rubbering like that, they're going to want to go the other way and obviously get the racetrack wet and racy for us. So was an awesome racetrack. I feel like had two lanes in the feature. Missed it a bit in the dash, started third and ran fifth, which, obviously starting third and fifth is a big difference in these races. So was able to get to third there late in the race and challenged for second for a bit, but ultimately ended up third. So solid weekend for sure, ending up both nights on the podium.
Giovanni Scelzi, what a great guy he is. So he's
he never turns us down, Kirk. Never.
Well, a lot of those drivers never do. Donnie Schatz never turns us down.
Right.
David Gravel's always readily
Brad
available.
Sweet, everybody we've ever most of our guests are always appreciative of their time, and we're appreciative of their time. But that was episode 352, if you need to go back and
listen to that.
Listen to that full interview.
I think we've got Bill Baylog on Tuesday.
Cool.
He texted us before the show last week, said, I forgot I had this meeting, but I can do it next week. So we got Bill Baylog on. Tough night for Baylog. He had a top 10 run going until he shredded a right rear tire. Did you see that?
Right.
So didn't end up the night as well as he wanted. But
the 17B car.
Yeah. So he'll be at Cotton Bowl again tonight, and hopefully we get a better finish tonight, and he can keep all the tires on it. So Bill Baylog, scheduled guest on Tuesday on Mostly Motorsports. So we hope this be Monday. I'm sorry, Monday. What am I thinking about?
I don't know.
Monday, 12 noon for Mostly Motorsports.
Absolutely.
You want to do that Trenton Berry?
Yeah, we might as well play this Trenton Berry. It has some good information, and like you said, those races are going on tonight, right, Kirk? Isn't there
That's
one?
right.
So we got some pretty good information in this interview, and this is a two-parter, so we'll play a little bit of this, talk a little bit, come back, finish Trenton Berry, and then we'll wrap this show up.
Trenton Berry and Austin Kruger, they own RacingDirt.com. They stream all these big-time modified events around the country, including next weekend's Heart of America down at Lucas Oil Speedway. And Trenton Berry was our guest on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show, talking about Heart of America and this weekend's Heartland Modified Tour event down at Humboldt Speedway. About a week and a half away from the King of America down at Lucas Oil Speedway. Big time now for dirt modified racing.
Oh yeah, it is. And then another new one there, the Boot Hill race. I know it's a little bit out of the area, but down in Greenwood, Louisiana, that's a very popular racetrack, very well attended. So, man, it's a busy run coming up here over the next little bit, but glad to be busy and glad to be running at some great places.
You know, the Heartland Modified Tour is going to be going to CMS on July 4th. Talk about that, the Tom Wilson Memorial.
Yeah, so we're going there a couple days. It's pretty awesome, honestly. I initially talked to Sam, and it was just one, and I said, hey, I'm trying to figure out where we can go, and he said, well, Earl's okay with running 2 days, and I said, are you kidding me? And so that just made awesome weekend, really, because we're gonna start out that weekend at Wheatland with the fireworks night, which is one of my favorite events of the whole year. They do such a great job with that. They contract with a local company there to put on this fireworks show. And it's such just a homegrown, hometown supported event. And I mean, that's just everything that the Heartland Modified Tour is about. So we're going to start there. And the Tom Wilson, I know it's been a few different things over the years, and I'm so appreciative for the opportunity to go race at Warrensburg, and that the Walls family would have us there. And we're going to get to run there for 2 days and be a part of their Independence Day weekend too. I mean, that's a really special event. You guys know all too well about it. So I'm tickled that it's going to kind of return back to a little bit to what it used to be. I don't know about formats and whatnot. We haven't discussed all the specific details, but we will as we get closer.
We had Johnny Allen on our show Saturday morning. I know it's tradition to go to Humboldt in March, and this kind of keeps that going with the King of America going to Lucas Oil Speedway. Just how big is this weekend still being able to race at Humboldt in March?
Well, I mean, to Stick and I, it's everything. I mean, we built our business because of Todd Staley. And we put our business into overdrive because of Humboldt Speedway. And it's made so many things happen for us over the years. And I have eternal respect and appreciation for the Whitworth family. New Ron worked really closely with Ryan and Renda, and super close with Ryan. I consider him one of my very good friends. And we still talk. I talked to him on the phone yesterday for about half an hour. So it's very important that Humboldt races modifieds in March, and it's very important that we don't lose these traditions. And we're just able to keep doing the things that are tried and true. I want those race fans to know that it might look a little bit different this year, but there's not one thing that's going to be on that racetrack from the people that are behind it putting the show on that have anything but respect and appreciation for not only the Whitworth family, but also for Todd and Janet Staley for what they did, because that was a collaborative effort over 20 years ago that set that whole ball in motion for not only that speedway, but helped the series and helped so many racers. And all I want to do, and all Stick wants to do, is make sure that we get to keep those memories alive of those past events and continue to grow the division, just like all those people would like to do. And we want to make it an event that they're proud of.
Hey, talk about the King of America moving to Lucas Oil Speedway. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, so it's just kind of is what it is, you know. They had terrible weather the last few years there at Humboldt, and obviously that was where that race started. So, you know, I mean, kind of mixed emotions. You know, on one side, hey, we're going to go 20 minutes from my house, so that's pretty cool. I don't get many races at home, so I guess kind of selfishly I enjoy that. I like it on a business standpoint because with me being there, it's a lot cheaper for us to operate a weekend as far as the whole crew and all the expenses go way down. So I enjoy that part of it. World-class racetrack, trying a new thing, going to have another mega event in March. Love that as well. But you know, there's a piece of me that's going to have my heart at Humboldt for the King of America, and that's kind of always what it was. But you know, the thing about racing is there's so much of it that is so in flux all the time. And, some of these events just kind of hang on by a thread at places where they're at. And, you can either shelve it and be done, which is kind of where that thing was at. So ultimately, I'm thrilled that they decided to kind of regroup and get the ball rolling to keep that race happening. I mean, it's probably the best thing that I can say about it. But yes, glad it's going to be running.
Have you ever talked to Casey Schumann about running out at I-70 Speedway?
So yeah, we did. We ran a USMTS race about 3 years ago out there and just lost some absolute garbage truck full of money. And it's not necessarily all about the money, but when you lose the amount that Todd and I collectively partnered on, it certainly makes you want to step back and kind of reevaluate. So would love to talk to them again over the off season. Yes. We were not going to put the cars on the racetrack at that size. So if they're willing to cut this racetrack down, I know there's kind of been some internal struggle there over what the best thing to do is for the future of the racetrack. Not interested in putting them on the track that we put the USMTS on 3 years ago, having went and been through that. Should they reconsider and put the pieces in motion to cut that racetrack down, would 100% be interested in going there. Yes.
We're hearing rumors that they're not going to cut the racetrack down. Have you heard that?
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with I-70.
It's kind of been in flux.
Yeah.
It's kind of been in flux. I think it's probably the best way to say it. Yeah. So, and that's just something that group's going to have to figure out. They've got a world-class place. People are willing to accept that demanding of a racetrack at Knoxville and Eldora. For some reason, they seem less willing to accept that at I-70 for whatever reason. I can't quite put my finger on that, but all I can do is kind of pay attention to the pulse of the market and see the trends and the things that happen and talk to the people that you would expect to be involved. And so from our standpoint of things, it's going to have to be smaller before we take the modifieds back there, if that's something that's ever going to happen there. And I tell you that saying I would love to go back there, and I would literally give I-70 their pick of the dates of the calendar at the end of the year if that's something that could ever happen. Would absolutely be thrilled to go there.
So July 4th at CMS, they're going to have the Heartland Modified Tour.
Yeah, and it's the Tom Wilson Memorial Race. So that's going to be one of the crown jewel events on that Heartland Modified Tour.
Just so you know, Tom Wilson was my partner before Kirk Elliott.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Remember his voice belting out over the PA at Central Missouri Speedway?
He was one of the great announcers, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was terrific.
I got a Tom Wilson Media Award for my Carb Hall of Fame award that I got. So
right.
I've got a Tom Wilson Award on my wall. So pretty cool stuff.
Speaking of Central Missouri Speedway, they're going to be opening up their season here in a few weeks, as are all the local racetracks here in the area. Getting about that time of the year, isn't it?
Right.
They put out a press release at Central Missouri Speedway here this week, talking about some additional plans being made. You can read that up on racingboys.com. Over $700 has been added by the promoters to the already existing respectable purse at the track throughout the finishing positions. In addition, the weekly win money will now be $700 for the main event winner. Of course, could not have been possible without the assistance of Mark Carter and the 405 Performance Fuel. So they're adding a little bit more money. And also, they said they're pleased to announce that they're going against the grain and not raising any prices for the 2025 season at CMS.
Right.
So they're keeping everything intact.
The practice, test, and tune happens on April 12th, Kirk.
At Central Missouri Speedway?
Right.
So it's
their first weekly racing series starts on April 19th.
April 19th.
Right.
So it's coming up soon. And, of course, Lakeside Speedway, you talked about this, Todd. There was supposed to be a practice session out there, but the weather kind of
it looks like they're going to practice.
Issues there.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to practice 2 days next week. So I think.
So instead, they're going to go next Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. So I'm looking at practice for this Friday, March 22nd, has been canceled. Practice will be rescheduled for next weekend, Friday and Saturday.
So there you go.
There's the information we have on Lakeside.
They did have on-track activity at Salina High Banks last night for the opening round of the Dominator that pays $100,000 to win. That race is tonight. So all they had was practice and time trials last night. We see they had 66 entries down there last night. Did they say that there were going to be 200 at this event? Well, 66 is what I see here on my race pass. Jesse Stovall was the top qualifier in Group 1, followed by Gary Christian, Chad Wheeler, Tanner Mullins, and Alex Williamson. In Group 2, it was Will Krupp, followed by Jim Chisholm, Steve Lavaseur, Mark Smith, and Nathan Smith. And in qualifying Group 3, we see Cole Falloway, followed by Cade Dillard, Mitch Thomas, Mason Ziegler, he's a late model guy, and Kyle Strickler. Those were your top 5 in each of the 3 qualifying sessions last night as they go at it tonight for $100,000 at the Salina High Bank. That is a high bank race. Those modifieds are going to get it around that racetrack tonight, right?
Right.
What did they pay? $20,000 for second and $10,000 for third.
Tim Carrick won the championship at in the B mods last year, the POWRi B mods
at Lakeside.
He had 17 top 5s, 19 top 10s, and 19 features. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a hell of a season.
That's a hell of a season.
He's how many championships he won? There's nobody's won more at Lakeside than Tim Carrick.
Tim Carrick has won more championships than just about anybody else in this region.
And he'll never quit racing.
No,
If you think Tim Carrick is going to retire, no.
His dad never did.
Yeah, Tom Carrick.
Tom Carrick.
He was a good one.
Right.
Now, Tim Carrick is he is a Hall of Famer. And he's still racing. So congratulations to him. Keeps winning those championships, still keeps doing it. And I'm sure he's getting ready to go for another one here very soon.
Kirk, you want to push into this second half of this Trenton Berry interview?
Let's go. Let's hear more of Trenton Berry, owner of RacingDirt.com, talking some modified racing and other topics with Trenton Berry. Let's talk about what's happened so far on the USMTS. Your most recent outing was down at Rocket Raceway Park. You only got one night in down there, but Kyle Strickler came up with the victory. Just kind of talk about what's happened so far here in 2025.
Yeah, he did, and so Strickler's a new one. Very exciting. He's racing with Troy Girolamo out of Williston, North Dakota, and they're taking a run at the full USMTS tour. So it was cool. There's definitely some new blood in the series this year. So I don't, we're so early. I don't really know who the front runners are, but obviously Tanner Mullins has looked great, and his events so far that he's raced, he won our arms race, our opener, down at Waco the week before Rocket, and then Joe Chisholm won, Jim Chisholm won, Joe Chisholm won, and then Kyle Strickler. So those are kind of the 4 shows that I've been to so far this year with they've been who's won the races and found the success. So no reason to think that that those 4 aren't going to be able to carry that success through. But there will be a big shift. There always is every year when it gets warmer out and the tracks slow down and slick off. To kind of see who comes to the forefront. We're still running on heavy tracks a lot right now, and it's different once it gets good and hot outside. that's really will have to tell the tape to see who's going to shake out in front. But man, with Jim's year last year, what he did and what he's already done this year, no reason to think he's probably not going to be an early favorite. I think Strickler will probably be a front runner as well, and we'll see what happens with Joe. Joe's kind of to be determined if he's going to be able to make the full year work. So obviously, I think everybody has their fingers crossed that he can, and hopes that he will. So that would certainly mix it up.
And oh, by the way, that driver from Happy, Texas happens to hold the points lead, as slim as it is early in this year. Rodney Sanders, you can't count him out either. He's a 5-time champion.
Rodney Sanders is a modern day Kelly Schrack. You can mark the tape on that one. That's where this all is headed to me. Now he's probably never going to go win 42 races, mainly because we don't even have 42 on the schedule this year. You know what I mean? Like Kelly did. I think it was 06. But that's, I mean, Rodney's he's just so consistent. He had a great run out of Otto. He went and ran the Winter Meltdown out there this past weekend and looked good. So yeah, he's there. Rodney's right in the money, just like you'd expect him to be.
The Chisholm brothers, what kind of cars are they running?
Yeah, Skyrockets, and so Kelly builds them, and Jim's kind of a dealer through his company called Balance Speed, and they're responsible for a lot of their own setup on these cars when these guys order. So they're actually able to order cars through Jim, and Joe helps a little bit on them, and from time to time. But Jim's in that every single day, getting his race cars done and helping out his customer base. So he's sharp. I don't know if you guys have ever had him on. If you haven't, he's somebody you guys should get on here at some point. He is unreal, intelligent, and talented, and you guys are going to come away from the interview with him going, my gosh, this kid's only 21 years old. I mean, it's guys, it's crazy. I cross my fingers so much that he doesn't get plucked away to late model racing. I fear that's what's going to happen down the road here at some point. When some seats open up, that somebody's going to take a look at him. You can't deny the talent. But I'm always curious, like he's got so much with his business going right now. Is that enough to keep him racing modified? So
well, we all
really tell.
We all know the graduates from USMTS, what Ryan Gustin is doing out there. Now we're seeing Dan Ebert and Dustin Sorensen out there full-time late model racers.
Oh, yeah. And there's no reason. I guarantee you Jim Chisholm could get in that and do the same thing. I'm not going to tell you he's going to go win Lucas Oil races right off the bat, but I will tell you that let him get his feet wet, figure it out, and he'll get it figured out for sure. So, it's a little different USMTS look this year, but there's some newcomers coming in, and the beauty of that tour, as guys kind of come and go, there's some new people to step in and take their place. So it's going to be a wild year. There's a lot of races. I think between Todd's races and the 3 tours that we've booked, there's close to like 90 some special events on the calendar this year from Minnesota to Texas.
So who are the young and up-and-comers that we may not have heard a lot about that we need to keep our eye on that are coming up?
Yeah, well, so Jim and Joe, obviously. There's some kids from up north that are not on the tour full-time. There's a boy racing B-mods right now that's not going to be on the tour this year. That races up around Fountain City, and his name, he won a big USRA deal. I apologize. His name is escaping me right now, and it shouldn't escape me. But on the USMTS side of things, it's really those 2 guys. We got some great ones. I'll just be honest with you that are in this Heartland Modified Tour with us that are taking a look. There's a kid named Henry Chambers. You guys know Jeremy Chambers from Baldwin City, Kansas.
Heard the name.
That raced for years. So he's got a boy, Henry Chambers. He's 17 years old. He splits time between a 305 sprint car, a modified, and he ran the Chili Bowl this past year. And Henry has talent and ability that is out of this world. Now, they're kind of torn what they're going to do. They've started out with the USMTS, but they're also going to start with the Heartland Tour. And they've got a few weeks here, kind of weather dependent on, before they're going to have to make a decision on what they're going to do. But Henry was our VP Racing Fuels Rookie of the Year last year with that Heartland Tour. And as far as around this part of the country, he's one of them Bobby Williams, Lucas Oil Speedway B-Mod track champion. They've purchased a brand new Skyrocket from Jim Chisholm. He's going to be over at Humboldt this weekend. Another B-Mod guy that's raced B-Mods from Springfield, Missouri for years. His name's Derek Watson. Comes from very thick racing lineage in his background with his family. Derek has got an MB Custom from Tyler Wolf. He's got an elusive engine, and he's going to come to Humboldt this year. So I'm not sure which of these guys are going to kind of make that jump to USMTS as far as some new blood this year for that exactly. But these are some of the guys that we're seeing that are just kind of like in the pipeline that depend on how things go, are going to step in and make a few starts here and there.
It sounds
the cool
like
part about our regional tours is they're identical rules to the USMTS, so guys can kind of hop back and forth as they choose.
It sounds like Skyrocket's making a name for themselves right now.
Well, so I mean, with Jim and Joe, they certainly are, and they're getting some more race cars out there, and it's cool. So Kelly came to the banquet this year, and he hadn't been to a USMTS banquet. I don't necessarily know, 6, 8, 10 years, something like that, since he'd probably been to his last one. And he was at the banquet this year because they were the car builder of the year, and obviously that sways heavily on the champion. That's kind of a big factor in that award. But yeah, they're doing well. Rock and roll is good. They're building a lot of stock cars too. Skyrocket is. So things are going well there right now, and it's a good relationship between the two. Those boys had so much respect for Kelly, and Kelly watched them growing up race, and it's neat to see what's happened and what's taken place. And when you know some of the backstories behind it, it's not really a surprise to understand why it's kind of going the way it is.
Kelly Shryock's a 9-time champion. I doubt very much anybody will catch that record, but who knows?
No, probably not. Rodney's got 5 of them though.
Yeah,
he does. Rodney's got 5 championships, and he's young. Rodney's, I don't know, 34, 35 years old. He's probably got, I mean, if he's got 20 years to race at a high level, and he's probably got 30 left to sit behind the wheel if he wants to. If you just you think about it. So
he's not going late model racing.
Sure.
I don't think full time, is he?
No, not planned, not in the plans as of now. Now he's always a phone call away, and has been for over a decade, and has dabbled in it, and has had times he's ran really well with it.
Did I see where Johnny Scott is going to come back and run with you guys? Stormy Scott is.
Brother.
That's it.
Yep. So what's happened there, Stormy has moved to Amarillo. Stormy's gotten married, and he's moved to Amarillo, and he's going to run some ARMS. He's going to run the King of America next week at Lucas Oil Speedway. He's got a car from Cade Dillard, so that's going to be a new car for him that he's going to be in, and probably going to be just like riding a bike for him, I would assume. I mean, he'll have the setup and be on the right stuff that he needs from Cade, and he'll take to it like he's never been out of it, I'm sure.
Tyler Wolf going to be in Humboldt this weekend?
He is not. Tyler Wolf's not going to be there, no. So
he's going down
to be a little different look.
So that $100,000 to win race down there at Salina Highbank is going to take some of your good drivers?
I don't know. I got 37 cars committed right now.
Awesome.
So I guess we'll see. I don't.
That's a good
I don't
number.
really know. We just put the schedule out as we always did. Head down, soldier on.
That's a good number. If you get 37 cars down here this weekend, that's terrific.
That's a pretty good number.
So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see who decides to show. You never really know until they pull through the pit gate, but our group has 37 of them that have text or via phone have confirmed their intentions to come race this weekend with us.
So 2 separate shows, Friday and Saturday night. Is that the way it works?
Yep. Going to run Friday and Saturday night. Going to practice Thursday, so
okay.
Going to practice 6 to 9. It's $25 pit pass for any of the teams that might be listening to this that want to practice, and 2 shows. Friday night's going to be $1,500 to win, $250 to start, $2,000 to win, $350 to start, which is the standard purse. We do have an option if a track books a 2-day event for a lesser purse on Friday night that they can choose to take if they want it. But standard purse Saturday night, $2,000 to win, $350 to start, $13,500 A main purse.
And how's the format layout?
We're going to pay that.
Go ahead.
We're going to pay that thing out. We're going to pay that thing out in cash. We take care of the payout to the racers, and it'll be done either night of, or they can get it at the end of the weekend, however they want to do it.
And how's the format layout for the King of America the following week? How many nights you running at Lucas Oil Speedway?
Yeah, so 3 nights in a practice. So we're 2 nights in a practice this week, or 3 nights in a practice next week. And as far as race format, your guess is as good as mine. I've not heard how Todd wants to run that yet, but it's going to be 3 days worth of race, and I'm sure there are going to be some sort of qualifying features on Thursday and Friday. But I haven't even asked him, and he's done so many different things over the years. I'd hate to speculate on what the plan is for this season.
Trenton, we can't thank you enough for being on the show today. Mostly Motorsports. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We can't thank you enough for the Heartland Modified Tour. You do a great job with that.
I have to level with you guys before I get off here, though. I never was in this to become a race promoter, and look at what's happened.
Right.
Well, we look for big crowds at both Humboldt and Lucas Oil Speedway. If you can't be there, it'll be on racingdirt.com, right?
Yep. We'll have it on TV, all the deals. So weather looks great for Humboldt, and the early forecast looks pretty good next week. It's still kind of hard to tell for Wheatland, but it looks pretty good too. So, man, I just got my fingers crossed we can get this whole thing in. There's a lot of stuff coming up, and reports of the demise of outlaw modified racing have been greatly exaggerated, boys. These tours have been so well supported, and we are so. I don't tell you that to beat my chest. I tell you that to say that I have so much gratitude and appreciation for everybody that's given us a chance and believed in what could happen. And it's wild when everybody's pulling on the same end of the rope what can happen to a division, because we took this thing, and there are literally people building cars as we speak to go compete. What an awesome scenario it's turned out to be.
And they had 42 A-mods at Humboldt Speedway last night. Trenton said it had 37 pre-entry. It ended up with 42 cars last night.
Right.
That's really good.
That's a good
for that
car
Heartland
count.
Modified Tour. Excellent. Hey, I just want to put out congratulations to Davey Franick. He won the USCS 360 feature event at North Alabama Speedway last night. And hey, if you're interested in some off-road racing, they've got it going on at Lucas Oil Speedway this weekend. Check it out. The off-road track is going to be in business tonight. So if you've never been to the off-road track at Lucas Oil Speedway, today is your day. Let me see what time they get started down there. They have the UTV short course events going on down there. And I'm looking, let's see, spectator gates open at 4, hot laps at 6:30, racing at 7 tonight at Lucas Oil Speedway off-road track. So, next weekend, the King of America. And that is a big event.
Right.
For the USMTS Modified. That's one of their crown jewel events. So that'll be going on next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Maybe I'll go down there for that.
Be a good place to go.
Right.
So that's a crown jewel event that is added to the Lucas Oil Speedway calendar, which gives them a big event, a couple of months before the Show Me 100. So I think that's good. So anyway, are you heading somewhere tonight?
I'm not sure where I'm going to head. I'm thinking about going down to Salina.
Boy, how far a trip's that? That'll take you 5 hours to get down there, won't it?
No, it only
Salina High Banks?
It only takes about 4 hours.
That's a great facility. That's kind of out in the middle of the country too, isn't it?
It is.
It's doesn't have a restaurant there too, doesn't it? Or it used to have.
In town.
Well, I thought they had a restaurant right there at the racetrack at Salina High Banks.
They do. They got really good food there.
Yeah.
As well.
So that'll be an interesting event to watch tonight. Somebody go for $100,000 in a modified race. So we'll see who's able to pull that off tonight. Kyle Strickler, you think, maybe? Might have a shot at that. The high side tickler, which is pretty appropriate at Salina High Banks, don't you think?
Hey, listen, Kyle Larson was running so close to that wall last night.
Yeah.
In that truck race.
And he had fresher tires on, too, didn't he?
He did.
He was just mowing them down last night at Homestead.
But I think Corey Himes would have won that race.
Had he not had the
engine
problems.
failure.
Yeah, I don't know, they had some kind of electrical issues or something. When the dash goes blank, you got some, sounds to me like some electrical issues for the Tricon number 11. We saw him sweep it out here at Kansas Speedway last year. He won both races in the Truck Series, which, by the way, the Craftsman Truck Series will return to Kansas Speedway in May. So we'll see Corey Heim out there racing that. So now Kyle Larson is going to run the Xfinity race today. You can watch that on the CW network at 3 o'clock this afternoon. They'll qualify those cars at 10:30 our time coming up. And then we'll see the Cup Series practice at noon and 1:30 our time. If you want to watch that, you go to the Prime Network video live streaming if you want to watch that.
Qualifying bores me to death.
Yeah. I'm not.
I was a really good qualifier back in the day.
It didn't bore you when you were behind the seat of the car, though, did it?
Right.
Yeah, you were always a pretty decent qualifier.
I was always a decent qualifier.
The Cup Series race tomorrow, Straight Talk Wireless 400 at Homestead, begins at 2 o'clock. You can watch that on FS1. And who do we pick? We didn't pick Josh Berry to win last week, did we?
Nope.
Who would have thought Josh Berry was going to be the winner at Las Vegas? I didn't.
So last week we had
for the Wood Brothers.
I had Bush and Byron, and Scott.
Who did I pick? Larson.
Kirk had Larson, and Scott had Bell and Larson. So,
well, I think Larson had a pretty good shot at it, but then they chose to bring him in for fuel because they thought they were going to stretch the fuel out. But the problem with that is there were so many yellow flags it didn't matter. So Larson lost all his track position and had to come up from the back, but I think had they not chosen to come in for that splash of fuel when they did, I think Larson would have had something to say about it. But, hey, give Josh Berry credit. He was running in the top 10 most of the day. Was he not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So he put himself in great position for that Wood Brothers number 21, and I don't think that's going to be the last race we see Josh Berry win.
I agree on that. I do agree on that.
So
who are you picking today? The odds-on favorite,
at
obviously.
Homestead, Larson?
Yeah, odds-on. DraftKings have Larson as your top favorite, Tyler Reddick.
How about Christopher Bell? He won there a couple years ago.
So here's your odds from DraftKings for today's race. Kyle Larson sets at plus 360. Tyler Reddick. So here we'll go from top up. Larson, Reddick, Blaney, Byron, Bell. That's how they have it set up right
the
now.
B's.
So a lot of B's in there, and I think my pick this week. I mean, obviously Larson's probably who everybody's going to be picking, but I'm going to go ahead and go back with Ryan Blaney, and Denny Hamlin is my backup. So Ryan Blaney for Todd is my pick. How about you, Kurt?
Yeah, I got to go with Larson.
All right.
And I think he's got a good shot of sweeping the weekend.
Larson is the odds-on favorite to win the race.
What kind of a week would this be for Larson? He wins the high-limit race on Wednesday night out in California, and he wins all three at Homestead this weekend. Can he do it? I think he can.
Who's your backup driver in case Larson something happens, Kirk? Who's your second pick for this week?
Reddick.
Tyler Reddick.
He won there last year.
How about Kirk or Scott Traylor?
I'm going to take Larson to win and Seabell I always pull for Seabell.
Yep.
Well, he won this race 2 years ago. Reddick is the defending winner at Homestead, and Larson won there in 2022. So there you go.
Well, our picks are in, so we'll be ready for Monday. So tune in Monday to see how we did. And episode 353 will be ready to roll Monday.
Before we go, the NHRA is at Arizona this weekend at Phoenix. And Brittany Force is, it was Doug Coletta, the top qualifier in top fuel, 3.688. And then Brittany Force, followed by Sean Langdon and Antron Brown and Clay Milliken, your top five. And funny car, Bob Tasca III, 3.863 at 333 mile an hour. Austin Prock, number 2. Jack Beckman, 3. Ron Capps, 4. And Paul Lee, 5. Greg Anderson and Matt Hartford. Is Hartford number 1 in Pro Stock, Anderson number 2. So that's going on throughout the weekend. You can watch that coverage on FS1. NHRA at Arizona this weekend down at Phoenix.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We can't thank our guests enough, Giovanni Scelzi and Trenton Berry as well. For Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying we'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.